Hello! So, a little bit about Allfather Woden's sacrifice for the runes. So it says in the sagas, I know that I hung on a windy tree 9 whole nights with a spear wounded, and to Odin offered myself to myself on that tree, of which no one knows from where its roots grow. So, now, what is this telling us? So, what do we know about the name Yggdrasil? It means Odin's horse, because Ygg is another name for Woden. Ygg comes from the old Saxon, I believe, word for terrifying. And the reason why he is named Terrifying was one of his names is because he is the fury of self-awareness. And to be truly full of self-awareness is to have your ego die. And to have your ego die is a complete transformation. And that, to most people, is absolutely terrifying. So that is why one of his names is Ygg. So, Yggdrasil, Odin's horse. We know Odin has a horse. What else do we know? We know Odin has a spear, right? He has a spear. So, what I imagine, everyone thinks of this as somebody hanging from a tree. I do not think of this. I believe, imagine somebody who has fallen off of his horse, but he is still stuck in the reins. And the horse is running, and he is hanging from his one leg that is stuck in the reins, and he is looking down. Because also in the saga it says, down I looked, screaming as I reached for the runes. So that means it's telling us he's looking down, and also he carries the spear. So his spear would have been with him while he is riding his horse, and as he is fallen or thrown himself off of his running horse, he is wounded and stabbed by his own spear, which would have been, in the stirrups or something, attached to the horse as well. And then his leg is also attached in the stirrups or the reins or whatever, holding him on the horse. So that is why it is on a windy tree, because it is his horse running, windy, running in the wind. And that is why he is wounded with the spear, because it is his spear. It wounded him when he is thrown himself off the horse, because he is throwing himself off the horse to sacrifice himself, to transform himself. And then he became Allfather Woden. Before this, he was not Woden. That is why it says, and to Woden offered myself to myself. So before, he was not Woden yet. He was working his way up to becoming Woden. So that is how he became Woden. And then it even says, he reached down for the runes screaming, right? He was screaming. And of course, if you are hanging off of a running horse and you've been wounded with a spear that's stuck in the reins also, and why wouldn't you? Of course you would be screaming, you'd be yelling, right? And then it said he was reaching for the runes. And because when he sacrificed himself to himself, he was given the gift of the knowledge of the runes. And what are the runes? They are secrets. But they are secrets that are the energies, the secrets of the universe, the powers, the power to create and manifest. That is what the runes are. So, if it's the power to write, like they would say spelling in Old English. In spelling, we still use in the English language today the word spelling. It means to create a spell with your words. You are creating a spell to manifest your reality, to create your reality. So that is why it says about the spear, that is why it says about the windy tree, and that is why he is yelling or screaming, looking down towards the ruins. If he was hanging by his neck, it'd be very difficult to look down. You'd be looking more or less forward and down, not straight down. whereas the sagas are telling us he is looking down as if he is hanging upside down. And to hang upside down from a tree does not make much sense either. I've seen photos where they show photos of him hanging upside down from the tree, reaching for the rooms with his mouth open screaming. And now that is a very good photo, but the idea of it being on a tree is incorrect, I believe. I believe it is telling us he is hanging from his horse. So imagine the photo of Allfather Woden hanging by his foot from the tree, reaching for the runes, looking down with his mouth open, screaming. But rather than it being a tree, imagine it being a horse that is running, and he is hanging off of the horse that is running. That is how I view it and interpret it from the way the saga is written. So, just something interesting I thought I would point out. Tschüss!